I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. Tell these salty motherfuckers to tell the truth. Tell politicians to give up the rooms. Tell silent voters to stand up to the booth.
God, it's me. Can you hear my plea? Feeling like I'm lost in this world, can't you see? Demons creeping in, trying to take control of me. But I'm just trying to find the light, trying to break free. I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. But why you keep forgetting me? What did I do? Trying to have a convo, but you starting to preach. Feeling like I'm on a leash. Can't find no peace. Living in hell, can't you hear my plea? I'm suffocating, can't you see? Why you let these false prophets roam free? While the well-run suffer, can't you see? I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. Why you keep targeting me? What did I do? Trying to have a convo, but you starting to preach. Feel like I'm on a leash, can't find no peace.
Hardest battles, strongest soldiers, greatest burden, broadest shoulders, pushing up just like these boulders. See conflict like it's water, so this mercy, take my chalice, seeking grace through all this malice. All of these salty motherfuckers could give up.
Politics and sinners, they all the same. Got me stuck in this endless game. But I won't give up, won't play the role. Gotta do what's best for my soul. I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. Tell these salty motherfuckers to tell the truth. Tell these politicians to give up the room. Tell silent voters to stand up to the booth. Living wild but truthfully free. God keep on watching over me. Take my pleas and keep the... Good morning. And you know how I do. Independent music first, and we'll be right back right after this.
What's up? I ain't never seen you around before. What's your name? Feel like you might be the prettiest girl I've ever seen. She might be the prettiest girl I've ever seen. Can I get your number? Been going through your Instagram. Look like a model. I swear that I'm your biggest fan. You should think smarter. I'm coming up with business plans. Going full throttle. I swear I wanna be your man. Telling everybody that she's off limits. You get all my love, I ain't got a limit. Don't tell your friends, no it ain't they business, it's between you and I. See, this could be real love, I'm not trying to play games. And I know that I don't know you, but I feel some type of way. From your smile to your hairdo, everything about you, she's picture perfect. I'm knowing that she worth, ain't scared to approach you. Confidence you want me to, I wanna give you the world. Take a chance, pretty girl. Prettiest girl I've ever seen. Girl, she might be the prettiest girl I've ever seen. Your number, been going through your Instagram. Look like a model, I swear that I'm your biggest fan. You should think smarter, I'm coming up with business plans. Going full throttle, I swear I wanna be you. Looked you in your eyes and I fell all in. Hair down your spine and your smile is perfect. Would you mind if I asked if you belong to somebody? Girl, your face is so pretty, you know you serving. Don't even need no makeup, she knows she perfect.
Hey, bro, y'all can really just pull up over here. You know, little bro have his little after party for the prom. You know, you want fun. Like, I'm just chilling. I'm kind of like chaperoning for real. Hold on, I'll mention it. Hey, how you doing?
Hello.
Where you here from?
It's Tyler's party, right?
Yeah.
My little sister went to prom one night, so.
Oh, for real? What's your name?
Ma.
Ma? I knew you wanted for towel.
Nah,
Look, girl, you grown.
I am.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, you pretty too.
Thank you.
I'm his big brother.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
for
big
sure.
brother.
Do you got a man? Either way, I see you leaving with me. I'm trying to make some plans. You name the place, I'ma take you. I'm bound to fall in love with you. She's a grown woman. I promise she gon' show me some. It's over for your last dude. Sweep it up, I brought the broom. I wanna take you around the world. Come with me, pretty girl. Prettiest girl I've ever seen. Girl, she like the prettiest girl I've ever seen. Can I get your number? Been going through your Instagram. Look like a model. I swear that I'm your biggest fan. You should think smarter. I'm coming up with business plans. Going for Prada. I swear I wanna be your man. Telling everybody that she's off the limits. You get all my love, I ain't got a limit. Don't tell your friends, no it ain't they business. It's between you and I.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. And thank you, Angela. You know, the crazy part is I think a lot of people had seen, you know, to me, honestly, I will say it like this, because I had a conversation with a person yesterday after my show, and we were talking about Rochester. And the crazy thing of it is a lot of people are scared to get out of their comfort zone. They're scared to get out of their, you know, the four walls in their house. And that's the way that it's always been. And that's the way that it will, I feel like it'll continue to keep on. But I want to get into a story in Minneapolis about an 11-year-old. And with that being said, here you go with the Chief O'Hara.
My name is Brian O'Hara, BRIANO''HARA. I am the Minneapolis Police Chief. About 2:08 p.m., Minneapolis police received a 911 call of shots fired in the park behind me. Shortly thereafter, a police lieutenant on patrol near Penn and Dowling encountered a motorist that was flagging them down. The motorist had an 11-year-old boy in his car that had a life-threatening gunshot wound. The lieutenant began CPR on the boy immediately, who was then later transported to the hospital and was pronounced at the scene. Through the investigation, which again is preliminary, we have learned that the Good Samaritan, about 2 blocks away on Morgan, came into contact with this boy and another male. He put the boy in his vehicle, and that's when he ran into the police officer at Penn and Dowling, which is where medical aid began. It appears that a shooting occurred directly behind me in this driveway. There's ballistic evidence there, and it appears that the shooting is related to some vehicles that were driving through the park. There's a report that at least one of them had been driving across the grass in the park, and then at some point a shooting occurred directly behind me in the driveway. The information that we have is very limited at this time, but I cannot emphasize how terrible it is to have an 11-year-old boy shot during the day and killed. But it's clear that there were other people here when this happened, and so we are making a plea to please anyone that was here come forward and provide information, even anonymously, to help us bring some sense of justice to this child's family. Our investigators have been on the scene, and they are following up on a number of leads, but we absolutely need the public's help.
How many suspects are you looking for? Any information about who you're looking for?
There were multiple people here, but as best I can tell, there is at least one shooter at this time. So we're looking for at least one shooter, but that does not mean that there may have been others.
Was this shooting from a vehicle to another vehicle, or was it person to person outside vehicles? You know?
I'm not going to get into those specifics, but this was definitely related to the vehicles that were driving through the park here.
Was the child an unintended target, to the best of your knowledge?
I cannot say that.
Like, were they caught in the crossfire?
I can't say that.
The child is 2 blocks over. Was that adult with the child here too?
No,
or was this
yeah. So that was a Good Samaritan that was home, about 2 blocks away, and heard cries for help between the child that was shot and one other male that were with him.
another male that was with him?
There was another male with the victim, yes,
And
at that time.
They walked over that way from the park? Got help?
Yeah, I cannot say how they got from here to that location. I'm not saying that they walked there. That's part of the investigation.
But that's where
that child was found.
Somebody that
Yes.
lives there
Yep.
responded and put them in the car
Yes,
to go.
came out of their house, put them in their car, drove towards Penn to go to the hospital, and ran into the police.
So that was an adult male, Chief?
Yes.
That was with the child here?
No, just another male.
Just another male?
Yep. It was an adult that is the Good Samaritan.
Samaritan?
Yes. Yes.
So are we talking 2 juveniles in, an 11-year-old that died and the other?
Yeah, definitely the victim, we believe, is 11 years old, and that's all we're going to say.
Can you tell us, do you have any idea how many shots might have been fired?
We don't. We don't. There was not a shot spotter activation, so we don't know with certainty. Obviously, there's shell casings on the ground that are going to be recovered. However, with vehicles involved, it's always possible that other casings are inside of those vehicles and then left the scene.
So multiple rounds?
Yes, multiple rounds, yes.
Any idea, would it be that there's multiple rounds and multiple weapons? Or
We're not ruling that out. I'm just saying that there was at least one weapon, at least one shooter. So again, we're not ruling that out. We do have some conflicting information right now.
Has the child been taken to the medical examiner?
I don't believe the body has at this point, but will be.
Still unseen?
Yeah, yes.
So when you said that you believe it was related to the vehicles driving through and over the grass, meaning that would be the suspects, or was the victim here associated with those vehicles? I guess both confusing.
So, yeah, we don't know for sure.
Like, was the kid playing at the park?
You know, we don't know for sure. It is the best I can tell you. Obviously, there were at least 3 vehicles involved that were driving through the park. At least one of which at some point is driving across the grass, and we just cannot say conclusively, what was going on between them.
was the 11-year-old shot multiple?
I don't know that for sure. I know at least one life-threatening injury.
And any idea that this may be related to any other incident leading up to this?
Not yet. Not yet. No.
And gang activity, you can't really say anything.
Can't say anything, but obviously, we have had a problem for some time with stolen cars and juveniles and stolen cars, driving through the park and driving reckless in general. So again, we don't know that for sure, but we just are aware.
I feel like a problem they don't want to solve.
That has been an ongoing problem.
And are you getting any pushback from some of the witnesses, or are they?
Obviously, it's extremely emotional right now. Whenever anyone is killed, but especially when a child so young is killed. So again, we're hopeful that there are other people who were here, or other people who know what happened, that they could, even anonymously come forward and help this investigation.
Wow. And that's the crazy part, is like, it has to be anonymous because people could potentially lose their life. There could be revenge. There could be, all multitudes of consequences. And I know a lot of people aren't, see something, say something, and do something. Is people can talk about it all day, but is it inside of us to actually do something? Is it inside of us to actually make a change? And I honestly don't believe that everybody is built for that. You know, some people are here. There is reverence. We have pastors. We have, you know, nonprofit leaders. We have all these other things. But what actually changes? What actually changes? We sit here and we do press conference, protest. And yet we lose lives. When are we going to, and I feel like fight fire with fire. When are we going to stop playing kumbaya? Because they're not, you know, and I feel like because too many people are passive, this is why we're losing lives. This is why we're losing our children. Nobody's really standing up for our kids. We talk about it, but we don't do it. And when are we going to not only just talk the talk, but we're going to walk that walk too? And that's what I really don't understand, because even this came out yesterday, was that a man had been linked to straw purchases in Anaya and Trinity Smith's case. And it's like, damn. But I want people to listen, because I do feel like this is important. And it should really show that we have a problem in Minnesota. And what do people really want to fix?
That rocked that city back in 2021. That's according to federal investigators who say he lied when he purchased those weapons. Fox 9's Mike Manzoni joins us from the newsroom tonight. And Mike, investigators say this person bought dozens of guns illegally.
Randy, his name is William Burton. Investigators say police tied at least 5 of the guns he bought to crimes, including 2 killings that shook the Twin Cities 4 years ago. We're talking about the high-profile shooting deaths of 2 children, 9-year-old Trinity Addison Smith and 6-year-old Anaya Allen. Investigators say Burton straw purchased the guns, meaning he bought them for someone else. He now faces a criminal charge because investigators say he lied on the purchase forms, saying the guns were for him when in fact they were not. Trinity was jumping on a trampoline in North Minneapolis when a man named Dupree Robinson shot her in the head. He is now serving a 37-year prison sentence. Police say Trinity was caught in the crossfire of a gang-related drive-by. Just 2 days later, Anaya Allen was shot in the head while eating McDonald's in the back seat of her mother's car. Prosecutors still have not charged anyone in connection with her death. Her grandfather told us today Burton's arrest is a step forward.
This is the first time I've actually gotten some hope in the 4 years. This is the first time I see some hope, some light through this whole justice mission of having this individual in jail that was selling these guns. It's the first thing that I've had. Nobody, no suspects, no nothing. I wouldn't wish it on nobody, man. And so here we are again today, standing here for another child whose family is torn apart.
And Burton is at the Sherburne County Jail tonight as that federal case against him plays out. He faces up to 10 years in prison if convicted. In the newsroom, Mike Manzoni, Fox 9.
That's crazy that only 10 years for taking lives. I don't understand that. He can be linked to buying a gun to 10 murders. Like, and some of them are children. So I don't get that. I don't get how we as society, you know, and that's the one thing I really want people to do is stop saying that your kids don't do this or your kids don't do that, because that's not true all the time. We do have some very, 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 very bad individuals, kids, especially some knuckleheads. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand why we can't be accountable, why we can't be held, to a higher standard, because everybody's making a big old huff and puff about Melissa Hortman and their husband. And I'm very sad. Like I said, I'm very sad. But that happens in our neighborhood every day. And yesterday was an 11-year-old. And then the crazy thing is you have activists, or who call themselves activists, are business owners, whatever the fuck they want to call themselves, and yet scam this the same community you say you're working for. You heard it. How can you be healing the community when you're hurting the community? I don't understand that. That's one thing that I will never understand, is like how we as individuals can say that we're sitting here doing for our communities when we know we're doing wrong. When we know we're doing wrong. See, that's the whole point of looking in the mirror and saying, you know what, I'm not all high and mighty. I'm a regular person. I do bad shit too. But no, it's not like that. There's people don't want to hold themselves to a higher standard. We want to hold politicians, police, teachers. Why can't we hold each other to a higher standard? Because a lot of people are scared. They don't want to have conversations. You know, here's the crazy thing that I thought about, you know, since yesterday, is that a lot of people don't want to have these conversations because it's uncomfortable. Because you get, you know, because I've been to, I don't know how many town halls, I don't know how many protests I've been to, and it's like we keep on doing the same old shit. Same old shit, different day. And it's like, when are we finally going to change something? You know, we talk that talk. Now let's start walking the walk, you know. And that's the one crazy thing that I don't understand, right? I haven't got no cease and desist. I haven't been sued, even though I ain't got shit. But I'm not going to cower for no one. Here's the one thing that I can say. Somebody made a comment yesterday on Facebook when I was talking about the whole CERT thing and how family members of theirs are selling drugs, right, that are hurting our community. Right. And to be honest, Ben, that's the way that it really is, because when you call the person out, they get butthurt. They feel offended because you're staining their I don't know, their title. And to be honest, it's really not even that anymore. We're having a conversation about our community, about where we live. And then yet people always talk, well, that's not happening. Yes, it is. Why can't people look at the big picture instead of looking at the small circle? Because I will tell you what, Melissa Hartman ain't the only one that's been killed out in Brooklyn Park this week. Since she's died. They just found the body in Strawberry Commons not too long ago. I think it was actually not one, but two. So death is always around it. Are we that desensitized? Are we that desensitized where we can't look at our youth and say, hey, we've got a problem? It's you know what, the big crazy thing, it's not to say nothing bad. It's about being accountable. It's about taking responsibility, because that's what a lot of people don't do. And especially in Minnesota, we allow our leaders to basically scam the community. You know, somebody asked me, what is one thing that you feel that I feel like could be changed? And I said, that's faith-based initiatives. I thought the whole idea was for state and church to be separated. They weren't supposed to be combined. They weren't supposed to be buddy-buddy. They're supposed to be separated. But that's not where we live in. We live in a society that there isn't no separation between church and politics. There isn't. There is not no kind of difference between church, because, you know, some churches don't allow you to be gay. They don't want gay parishioners. They don't want, you know, they don't want gay people in their church. The same way that we have Republicans that look at Leah Fenke and get disgusted that they call her a woman when it's actually a man, saying that because our policies, our legislation allows
Leah to be called a woman. She has the right to be able to now be called a woman. You know, when I was growing up, I know a lot of people, and I'm 48 years old, and I can guarantee that a lot of people my age will say that we don't remember people like that. We always heard the stories, well, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. But now it's so rampant. Everything is so hyper sexualized. And I don't understand why. And especially when it comes to our kids, why isn't that our first priority? That's what and that's what makes me the maddest out of all this shit, is because you got people in Rochester, Minnesota that say they care for our kids, but don't show it. They say one thing, but do another. They don't call out their friends. They don't call out their sons. They don't call out their cousins, their brothers, even though that they don't even deal with them. And that was me. I cut off a lot of people because of what they were doing. Because I was that same way before May 25th, 2020, when I flushed mine down the toilet. And here's the crazy thing of it. It's been 5 years that I've had to hold myself and be mad at myself. There's days where I can't even look at myself in the mirror because I know people that are near me are in my circle who are doing wrong, and I don't say shit. So to me, I am part of the problem. Because I do hold some fucked up shit. But why? I don't understand it. Why? And that's the whole crazy thing, is because I'm going to show y'all a post that I did on Facebook about CERT. And a lot of people, only white people, have sat here and said something, because I will tell you right now, the way that most people have commented, you already know they don't know shit about the situation. They don't know shit, or they're covering for others. And then, you know, the crazy thing, people have been tagged. People have been tagged and they don't comment because they can't. This is the one crazy thing. I want some of these motherfuckers to comment. Even like Bud. You never called me after I got off podcast yesterday. You didn't call me. You didn't call me. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I be saying these niggas don't be serious. They talk that talk, but it ain't no walking. I don't even fucking get that shit no more. I really don't. You know, and that's the one thing that we always do. A motherfucker can talk, but it's the minute you hold them to a higher standard, they don't act like that. That's one way that they don't act. Well, I didn't do that. Come on, man. And that's the one thing, is like, we play with we make people think that it should be common sense, or it should be, well, they should already know that. A lot of people aren't going to bite the hand that feeds them. They're not going to bite the hand that feeds. Here's the thing. Why would y'all sit here and bite the hand? Because you get rid of that hand, you're not being fed no more. If you get rid of that person over there that's able to, like Liz Bolden, or they can put that church, that nonprofit status. But that's not the way it is. That's not the way it is. And that's crazy to me, of how more Minnesotans don't say shit. They don't say shit. And then if some people do say shit, it's really quiet. It's really quiet. Or it's anonymous. And then that's the why I'll stand on my own 10 fucking toes, because most of these niggas is cowards. They're bitch-made niggas. That's the one thing that I will always say, is that when I got into this on May 25th, I knew what I was going to face. If I wanted to be that change, you have to be uncomfortable in situations. That's why when people come to me with stories, and especially that's the one crazy thing, is because people are like, why are you doing it? I have pictures. That's the whole crazy thing. Nobody wanted to see the pictures because I put it. If you wanted to see the pictures, come to me. Come to me. But no, I got called a liar. Everything in the book. But hey, I'll come see that picture. There was none of that. And that's what I don't understand. That's one thing that I'll never understand about Rochester is you could call a spade and even have proof and evidence, but nobody will still believe you because a person has a title. That's the one crazy part that I will never understand, because a person has a title, they can't do no wrong. That's not the way it should be. That's not. We have people every day losing lives over titles. Over because they don't want their whack ass title to be took. Oh, I fought all my life. No, you didn't. You scammed all your fucking life. When are people going to actually look in the mirror and say, you know what? I want to do good in my community. I don't want to hang around people that are doing wrong. But that's not the way we are. I don't see people holding their friends to a higher standard. I don't see people holding their brothers to a higher standard. We talk the talk, but when it really comes time to stand it on that 10, we don't do it. How many times has Marcus asked for niggas, to black men, straight black men, to come out? Now, nobody does it. But when the media comes out, when Fox 9, Carrie 11, KTTC, Post, niggas are there. That's one thing I will never understand is y'all niggas are there. When the media's there, niggas are there. But when it's time to stand up for us, niggas like cockroaches. The lights come on and niggas scatter. We lost an 11-year-old that from what I was told was killed. Or was in a shootout with an 8-year-old. Like, that's crazy to me. I don't, that's the crazy thing. I remember playing cops and robbers as kids, but not really shooting at people, at other kids with guns. We got to say we're fucked up. If we sit here now, because we allow this shit. The same shit, that's the one crazy part of it. When I used to go up to the landing and feed the homeless. And now we haven't done it in a while. But it's crazy to me. And then you see the same shit. I don't understand. Like, for real. I be sitting through some shit, man. Because I don't even understand it. You can have proof and evidence. That's the same thing with niggas that are behind bars and haven't committed a crime. But yet they got life sentences, or we've executed them, because in our eyes, that's justice. That's not justice. That's an injustice. But yet we still see it as a justice. That's fucking wild to me. That's wild. We have people out here that have done wrongs and don't want to look in the mirror because they're let's say they're church leaders, or they're like Mayor Norton, or the Rochester police aren't holding them accountable. And that's the one thing that I wanted to get into and talking about some of this shit up in Rochester, because I've really stayed out of a lot of shit, because I had a lot of, that's the one crazy thing. My youngest kids are in Rochester. Chaz Jr., well, he ain't Junior no more, but that did change that a little bit. In Rosley. And then I got Jasmine. She's 21. She's in Rochester. So, and I've been through some shit. Every time that I hear something about an overdose of a young female, I message my daughter. Because I had people in the community telling me that my own kid was out here fucking with that shit. So I messaged her and got her and was trying to get her help. I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect person. I'm a work in progress. But I can look in the mirror. I can look in the mirror. Y'all niggas put on for a photo op. They put on a smile because at the end of the day, they know that they have people that they know that they could say something to and make a change, but they don't because they're scared. That's what I will never understand is how can we say that we are men for our communities are when it's really time to stand up, we don't. We don't stand up because we care more about how much we're going to get paid, how many followers I have, how many likes. You know, I sat here and watched the Hood NPC last night on TikTok for about, I don't know, about 10 minutes. And it was kind of hilarious because that's what we succumb to. I even look on the fight videos. We have millions of views on the fight videos. Even when it comes to people hanging themselves or people being lynched, being hung, ain't nothing fucking changed. We still living in the Jim Crow area. The only thing that's changed is the motherfucking year, 2025. That's it. That's it. That's it. It ain't 1968. It's 2025. And people still doing the same old shit. And that's the one thing I will never understand. I will never understand. Right. It was. It was. That's what, you know, especially about the music. Nowadays, people, it's, you know, drill or murder music. And it's like some of it has a good beat. But what do we learn? We're killing ourselves and ain't doing shit. You know, you Public Enemy on that list, and I think about Flavor Flav and everything that we have seen that man go through his ups and his downs, and he's still living. He's still got that big ass clock. Same thing with Nas. Niggas over here having arguments about they're better than Nas. Man, we don't care no more. We just want great music. We used to have rappers talking about the streets. Now we have people that rap about being in the streets. I don't fucking get. Rap was supposed to change people's lives, not make it more glamorous. You know what I'm saying? It was like it was supposed to change people's lives, and that's what it ain't done. You know, I think about this Malcolm X quote. You know, if you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. And that's one thing that we fight every day with mainstream media. You know, even when it came to the 11-year-old yesterday, there were so many narratives. Like when I remember just even in 2020 when the man killed himself downtown. Like, when is the truth going to matter? When is our babies going to matter? That's what I don't understand. Like, everybody says they do this for the next generation. Then let's see it. Because to be honest, you know, and that's what really tripped me out about the 4S thing. Because when that came out, and, you know, first it came out, it was tax evasion. You know, and then it was another charge of criminal liquor sales. And I'm like, damn, what about the underage drinking? Because I know parents, I've had conversations with parents about 4S. Because me being a blind ass idiot, I wrote up, this is the one crazy ass thing. Because I wrote up a whole thing about what happened to Don Yale and all that shit. And I was like, they're not trying to do anything, but I know that family. I've seen, you know, Buddha and all them come up. Looney Mob, all that. So I felt like, in my eyes, that Rochester police, and they were just fucking with him because he was a black man trying to do a difference. But then parents started to, you know, I started to get messages like, no, that's not true. Why? They was like, why are you sticking up for a person that, yes, has had probably a hard life, but they're not doing wrong to him. He's doing the wrong. And I'm like, wait, what do you mean? So then I started to hear about the underage drinking, the fights. Then I'm like, damn, what? And see, that's why it's hard to stick up for a lot of people in Rochester, because you hear that media narrative from the media, from leaders, and then you see the real street nigga, and you're like, that nigga ain't changed. That's still the same ass nigga. You just got a title. And see, this is what happens is that I can tell you this right now is that they will build us up to be able to fall back down with no help. With no help. And that's what I don't understand. You know, and it's like, damn. Because that's, you know, one thing that I got at is people are telling me, don't go to the police. I really don't anyways. I don't really fuck with the police departments and all that shit. But I did send people on U.S. snitch. No, I had an email conversation with, now he is the U.S. attorney for Minnesota, whatever you want to call it, for Trump, and Joe Thompson. So I sent him an email, and because in my eyes, state isn't taking it serious anyways. So why would I go to Olmsted County, who is being lenient on sexual predators of something serious of fentanyl, which in my eyes should be seen as a weapon as mass destruction? A weapon of mass destruction, because it destructs lives. It destructs lives. And to be honest, I do feel like Rochester police has a lot to do with this. I'm not holding nothing back. Because in my eyes, not in my eyes, I don't get it. You know, I'm not even just Rochester. Minnesota used to stand up for so much. We used to be an actual village. We used to be a community. Now we're just neighborhoods. Even though we had whatever we want to call wars over territory that we never owned. That's the one crazy thing is we didn't own that territory. We were fighting for something that we are being believed that was how they wanted us to see it. A lot of us just fell into shit that didn't really mean nothing. It didn't really mean nothing. It really didn't mean nothing. And that's the sad, thing for me is like, why can't we as people, why do we have to so much, I won't even say it as like ignore people, because maybe that's what it is. But we don't even take people for their word anymore. Oh, they're lying because, we've known this person their whole life. That doesn't make them perfect. Just because you know a person your whole life, because I've had to go through that. I would have never thought this person that did that, but then yet they did it. That's the one crazy thing, right? Is even being in the movement. I never believed that Cortez Rice was the way that I was, but then I seen it for myself. See, and then when you prey on a community that has already been oppressed, and then who do you reach out for help? That's the one crazy thing, because I get that a lot. Like, who do I reach out for help if they won't help you, or if they say they'll help you, but then don't do nothing? How many times have we went to schools and talked about racial activities, about kids calling black kids niggers or monkeys, or, all these kind of racial slurs? We don't do anything. There might be a little punishment, but then we'll see it again in a couple of weeks. We see it the next day. We don't change shit. And that's what I don't understand is like how, as we call ourselves Minnesota One, can we allow this? Why do we love scams and fraudulent people more than we love peace and harmony. We all talk about we want that transparency. We all talk about we want the truth. Let's be it then. Let's talk about the truth and transparency. You know, if I was saying this, you know, that what the crazy part, because people say, oh, you're lying. I never said I seen it. There was people in Rochester who sent me a photo and said, hey, I just wanted to show you that I was going to get cocaine, but that's not what I received. I said, what do you mean? I did the fentanyl testing strip. I said, what? I said, so that's why, honestly, I think why so many overdoses are happening in Rochester is people are selling what they claim as cocaine, and it's mixed with fentanyl. I shouldn't even say mixed, laced, because that's what it is. It's laced. And so that's why we're seeing there's an uptick in overdoses, you know, and then they weren't. Yes, they were. I don't know why people get on here. Here's the thing of it is because the minute I start putting FOIA and then people don't even know what that means, when they start asking me, what is that? That already shows what kind of people I'm fucking with. People that don't have y'all know what some of them code words, acronyms. FWB is Friends with Benefits, but y'all don't know Freedom of Information Act. That's crazy to me. You don't know how people don't understand how, you know how FWB can potentially help you, but you don't know how FOIA can save your life. That's wild to me that people don't understand that we have more rights than we know. And that's the one crazy thing, because you know why a lot of people don't do this? Why we see more activists that are going up against the police, going up against the mayor, but you don't see people going up against gangs. You don't see people going out there fighting them. I'm talking about, we supposed to be out here, you call yourselves violence interrupters. I don't see nobody out here breaking up and trying to talk to the gangs, the cliques. How can y'all call yourself violence interrupters? And that's what we not bringing the peace, because when it comes to fighting for your community, a lot of people don't do it because they're not comfortable. They're scared because who do you go for help? When you need backup, I don't need nobody. We all bleed. And that's why, you know, the crazy thing of it is, even just having a conversation with this person, and I understand. Because this is what happens. If people haven't heard about Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, Martin Luther King, when you speak the truth, niggas come for you. Because if it's a lie, why are people worried about a lie? Why are this the one I want people to, why are people getting out of their pocket, this the one crazy thing, right? Because there's a lot of people that won't comment on the situation because they know it's true. Or they have an inkling that I'm probably telling the truth, but there are some people that will die on that lie. There's some people that will stand 10 toes down on the wrong being done in our communities, then standing up because they're getting paid by it. You don't bite the hand that feeds you. I did a post yesterday about feeding our future in Rochester, because Rochester was involved in feeding our future. Let's not act like it wasn't. The whole Brava Cafe over on Marion Road. And then it's still running today, this Somalian resettlement services. And it's like, no matter how much wrong goes on in our communities, people still don't stand up and try to eradicate it. They don't try to get rid of it. So instead, they throw on the galas or the little block parties, but the same drama still keeps on happening. We still lose lives, no matter if it's to gun violence, no matter if it's to overdoses, because we really have to deal with that now. Domestic violence. Nobody sticks and stands for it. We sit here and pick up a phone. Pick up a phone and start recording. We don't say, hey, that's wrong. No, niggas stand by and say, no, that's not right. That's right. Don't keep on doing it. We stand there because when it's time to stand up to the wrong being done in our communities, you got more people standing on what they think is right, but it's not. Because I remember sitting on 36th and Penn during demon time, and niggas wouldn't come out. You know, and that's what I started to notice, right? So when it's against the police, when they protest against senators, representatives, judges, they want to do that. But when it comes to closing liquor stores, gas stations that are troubled, corners, bus stops that aren't safe, there's not people out disrupting that. There's not people breaking that up. There's not people, because they're uncomfortable. That's what you know what they'll tell you? That's what the police are for. Call 911. What do you mean? The city and state pays you to actually do this kind of work. So why aren't you doing it? Oh, well, no. See, and that's the whole crazy thing. Even when it came back to, I did a post on Twitter the other day, and I was fucking with Grok, and it was I had asked it, how much money since 2020 has Minnesota got in Minneapolis? Because we know about the 1.1 billion, right? I didn't say million, I said billion. That was just wasted. Now, what has changed? $1.1 billion in 2023. Google it. $1.1 billion was given to nonprofits in the last legislative session, not 2025, 2023, because July 1st is a new budget, new biennium. $1 billion. What's changed? $1 billion in 2 years were given to nonprofits. What's changed? Nothing. And I'm going to continue to say that. Nothing. We still have people that are living in despair. We still have families, mothers that can't even feed their kids at night. We have parents that don't know if they're going to be able to put a roof over their kid's head for the next week. Because 70% of America lives check by check. And then, you know, that's the crazy thing. I hear this all the time is a lot of people are just one major accident from being homeless. I hear that all the time. You know, all the time. And a lot of it, I just laugh. Because a lot of us don't want to wake up until it hits our front door or it involves us. But why not do something before it comes to your door? I don't understand that. You know, that's the one thing that Malcolm X, I run in my head a lot, is you're not so blind with patriotism that you can't face reality. Wrong is wrong, no matter who does it and who says it. Right? But that's not the way we look at a lot of this shit. That's what I will never, you know, I really thought growing up, you know, the streets was really, it was dangerous. But shit, so is the political world. Because if you want to make change, you have to cut your grass so fucking low that you can observe all the fucking snakes, all the rats, the leeches, because some people will leech off you till there ain't nothing left. Some people will use you until there is nothing left. And that's the way that it's always been. When is the last time we had a Black Wall Street? They tore that down. They got rid of that. And they bombed it. Every time we try to do something on our own, for us, made by us, they get involved some way, somehow. And if they can't get involved, that's the one thing watching Bumpy Johnson. I was watching The Godfather Harlem. He was pretty big back then. And seeing the things that he had to go through, even with the mafia, which is Italian Americans, but just knowing that how much they control, because yes, they're the same thing, an immigrant, but their skin color is white and yours is black. So that always showed me that, yes, the RICO was for the mob, Italian Americans, whatever. But let's start using it on the motherfuckers around us. Because I don't understand that. Like, there are so many fucking stories in Rochester. It's crazy. That's the one part I will never understand is, like, when did Rochester when did Minnesota get so soft in our sentencing guidelines? We're not that's one thing I hated about Wisconsin is because that truthful sentencing or whatever. And you did most of your time. You got caught with any type of weed, cocaine. I seen niggas get 20 years for having an 8-ball. And I'm like, damn. Yeah, because Wisconsin is zero tolerance. And it's like, that's wild. But some people won't talk about the wrongs that have been done in our areas, right? I want to talk about, I'm going to go in order. I want to talk about Pierre Stanifer, right? 42 years old, sexually assaulted a girl starting at the age of 14 as a child. Got pregnant at 15 and had a baby in February of 2022. In court documents, it said that he was a family friend. And I honestly want people to sit with that. A family friend. Somebody that the family had known. Because this wasn't a stranger in the dark. This was someone trusted. Someone close. And it took this young sister until she was 19 to even come forward. Because that's the trauma we force our girls to carry in silence. Because Pierre is now facing 2 counts of third-degree criminal sexual conduct. But where's the outrage? Where's the media storm? Where are the local leaders who love to post pictures about protecting our youth? They're silent. Like always, silent when the predator ain't wearing a badge or carrying a political title. Now I want to move on to somebody that I honestly, I've met, I've known, talking about Gerald Morocco Thompson. Another predator, but this time the court gave him a discount. He got sentenced to 30 days in jail and 3 years probation. But wait, he doesn't even have to serve that time unless the court says so. Let me say that again. He was convicted, but he doesn't have to serve a sentence unless they tell him to. What kind of justice is that? Who gets that kind of grace? Not us. That's what's crazy is you can hurt a child in Minnesota and they won't do anything to you but a slap on the wrist. But if you that cocaine, heroin, they throwing us away. You know, that's the one crazy thing is because I think about this, right? And then this is also the man who snitched on my brother. Confidential informants. That's what I will never understand. Go look at Rochester police budgets and look at how much money they give a year for confidential informants. Because I will tell you right now, some of the biggest busts in Rochester lately have been because of confidential informants. Trust me, everybody here, this minute you read these court transcripts, the minute you read a CI, confidential informant, was the reason they were tipped on that information. And then well, how much did they pay? There's so much that you got to do because it's crazy. I will tell you like this. Last year, I think it was almost $1.7 million that Rochester Police Department gave out. No, that was 2023. That they had given out $1.7 million to confidential informants. And I was like, damn, they pay that much. But then when it comes to protecting people from guards like Matthew Adamson, corporal, who was a corporal, y'all promote them. That's what I will never understand. Is like, when are we going to protect our communities? I don't understand that. When are we going to protect our communities? Because even this last one, it really tripped me out, right? Like I said about Danielle Demon Gales Johnson. We can't, that's the one. That's why, for me, I don't fuck with a lot of these niggas because you can't sit here and say you for the youth and then you doing a shit that gets the youth in trouble, that can kill the youth. And then nobody want to come out and say shit. How can we say we're for the kids, that we're for a better generation, or when it's time to stand up and fight, we look the other way and run? That's not an activist. That's not somebody that's standing up for the community. That's somebody that will sit by, stand by, because as long as they get paid, they don't care. Because they got enough money to move away from that situation. There's people in North Minneapolis that can't move away, that don't have the proceeds, the funds to move to a better life. And we're not making it anywhere near better for them. We spend all that money trying to make it better, but we don't. We make it worse because that money isn't being used right. $1.1 billion in the bi-minimum. This is not no fucking, this is off the Minnesota Reformer. I can even Google this shit. Here, I'm gonna show y'all. Share this tab instead. 1.1 billion Minnesota non-profits. See, Minnesota lawmakers approved over 1.1 billion in legislative named grants to nonprofits in 2023, with some receiving more money from lawmakers than they normally get in other grants and donations in an entire year. That's what I don't understand. So how can we say this was money best spent? Because we want the Crown Act. We want what the bill that supposedly is to help Black and brown girls and adults that are missing, that are raped. That doesn't help anybody. Because it's still, this the one crazy part of it, right? Is they did that the Family Preservation Act or whatever. But it only helps out inner cities. What about the kids in Rochester that are going through the foster care system? What about the black kids in southeastern Minnesota or southwestern Minnesota that are going through the shit? Northeastern, northwestern? Because I will tell you right now is that there's only 5 counties. There is 5 counties in Minnesota that are more populated than the other 82 or whatever it is. I think there's 87 counties, and there's the because it's ridiculous. The 5 biggest Minnesota counties, and you'll see, right, the 5 biggest counties by population: Hennepin, Ramsey, Dakota, Anoka, and Washington. Those are the counties that make major decisions for all the other counties in Minnesota. Wait, 5 biggest counties in Minnesota that control Minnesota. Watch what comes up. Same thing. See if I can find that map. But it's literally like the most populated is the Twin Cities. So that's why when it comes to the rural areas, that's the center of Minnesota. So the rest of Minnesota is controlled. And Angela Williams is also doing a press conference tomorrow at 2 p.m. At Falwell Park. Now, I want to see how many people stand up tomorrow, because there will be a press conference tomorrow at 2 p.m. at Falwell Park for the 11-year-old that was killed. How many people will be there? I don't even think much media will. But it's time. It's time. It's time to stand up. It is time to stand up. It is time to stand. That's the one crazy thing is people be so scared of the truth. But the truth will set you free. Yeah, that shit's crazy. All these homicides, man. I don't understand it. Melissa Hortman will be in the state capitol. Mark, Melissa, and Gilbert will be displayed Friday in the state capitol. I don't know if anybody's seen this too, because this is crazy.
What can disqualify you from getting a life insurance policy? With us, nothing. If you're age 40.
It's breaking the news. I'm Janice Shortle. Tonight, the Metro Transit Police Department found out it has lost one of its best. Sergeant Beverly Rodriguez, who specialized in homeless outreach, died unexpectedly yesterday off duty. And it's hitting a lot of people pretty hard. Here's Kent.
There's always more to a person than the one you see at work.
We'll get off and go on to the next car.
But friends of Sergeant Beverly Rodriguez say her work on the Metro Transit Police Homeless Action Team, which KARE 11 captured back in 2023, gives a glimpse into who she really was.
We realized that we were probably becoming the biggest shelter in the state of Minnesota for homelessness, and so the need was out there.
That's her. She was the same person in uniform and in plain clothes. She was the person that will go the extra mile if she saw somebody that needed something.
Pamela Berrigan and the National Latino Police Officers Association Minnesota chapter are now going the extra mile for the Rodriguez family after her sudden death on Sunday on White Bear Lake. According to the Washington County Sheriff, she fell off a boat and didn't resurface for 40 minutes.
She leaves 2 teenagers behind and a really close-knit family of brothers and sisters.
Pamela says her law enforcement family is in mourning too.
She was always caring about other women in law enforcement. She made that effort to be a mentor. She made an effort to reach out to other women from other departments, from other states.
And her outreach efforts expanded in 2018 when she joined the Homeless Action Team.
She had that servant heart, and that's what she wanted, to become a police officer. Sometimes you could talk to her and she felt bad with some occasions that she was not able to help more.
We've utilized our whole voucher program for the year, so we're waiting on more to house more folks that qualify for the services.
In a statement today, Metro Transit said Sergeant Rodriguez didn't just excel in that role, writing, she approached this challenging work not merely as a job, but as a calling, bringing both her professional expertise, boundless empathy, and her generous spirit to serve those experiencing homelessness.
Because not everybody can do that kind of work and be kind and be resourceful to give people that are in need and in crisis, homeless and shelter, that kind of kindness and response. So she was the right fit for that.
And perhaps nobody described that challenge and legacy better than she did on the job in 2023.
It's hard to play both roles, but I think the folks that are on this unit definitely have a calling, and they have a passion for the work that they do. So it doesn't take just anybody to be a head officer. We have some pretty good folks on the unit that have been on for years.
Those fellow officers she spoke of on the homeless outreach unit aren't ready to speak about their friend today, but Metro Transit Police say her legacy lives on in the work that they continue to do. The family of Sergeant Rodriguez is also still in mourning, but the National Latino Peace Officers Association Minnesota has set up an online memorial to help them out, and we have a link to it on KARE11.com. Jana.
Yeah, Kent, it's important for our viewers to kind of, we'll pull back that curtain, if you will. I know you probably talked to a lot of people that we didn't see in your story today, and that people understand. We heard lots of stories and that they're just not ready yet.
Right.
Absolutely. And to a person, they all couldn't say enough about the work and the person and legacy.
So that was the officer who had drowned in White Bear Lake, and she was identified as a Metro Transit. I think she was a sergeant. But I mean, she was a police officer, but I think she had rank. But and then even with the ceasefire going on, because people should know about this and be watching this too, not even just because this could make their wallet a little bit tighter.
Happening overnight, there are already concerns about a ceasefire between Israel and Iran just hours after going into effect.
Our Hannah Flood is tracking all the very latest on this quickly developing situation this morning. And Hannah, what can you tell us about what's going on so far this morning?
Yeah, good morning. Well, we know new this morning, Israel is saying Iran launched more missiles after the ceasefire started. However, the Iranian military is denying that. This is a tentative truce was agreed to on both sides. According to the Israel Emergency Service, at least 4 people were killed and several others were hurt overnight. This new video shows crews there searching through some of the rubble at a damaged residential building. The Israeli Defense Forces sharing this video early this morning, saying that their Navy intercepted more than 15 unmanned aircrafts launched by Iran last night. The department's chief of the general staff stating overnight, quote, in light of the severe violation of the ceasefire carried out by the Iranian regime, we will respond with force. But President Donald Trump says both countries have violated this ceasefire.
Israel unloaded a lot, and now I hear Israel just went out because they felt it was violated by one rocket that didn't land anywhere. That's not what we want, I'll tell you, and I'm telling you, I'm not happy about that, Israel, either.
Yeah, this is so much developing that was the president talking to reporters outside of the White House just about a half an hour ago before he flies to the Netherlands for the latest NATO summit. The conflict with Iran will definitely be a major topic at that meeting, along with Gaza in Ukraine. NATO's Secretary General has stressed the importance of missile defense systems and long-range strike capabilities. NATO members could also vote to increase their defense spending. In his latest post on social media, Trump says Israel is not going to attack Iran and no one will be hurt because the ceasefire is still in effect. The president insisting all Israel planes will, quote, turn around and head home while doing a friendly plane wave to Iran. This is a developing situation, and we'll, of course, bring you updates here from the Live Center as we continue learning.
Watch that, though, because gas could be going up. Now, this is a post yesterday that I made about Brava Restaurant and Cafe, because over 7.2 million tied to Rochester nonprofits and businesses was connected to the Feeding Our Future scandal. And the community deserves answers. 2.9 went to Somali Community Resettlement Services, which is still, when you Google it, up and running. See, watch, I'm gonna show y'all something. That shit is still up. All right, let's see. Y'all gonna be like, what? Yeah, it says it's still open. Rochester, Lapidary Jewelers. If you wanna have some fun. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, what's in the shirt? But there, look at what's in the search engine. Somali Community says it's still open. Closes at 5 p.m. This is an organization that got all this money, and yet they're still allowed to be open. 4.3 million went to Brava Restaurant Cafe. These funds were supposed to support our children and our community, not be allegedly misused for personal enrichment. And that's what I seen. I'll tell you like this. I'm a person who has came a long ass way. A long way. And when I jumped off the couch and I seen that video of George Floyd, I surrounded myself with Democrat organizations. I thought Republicans were racist, right? I didn't think that it was. We needed handouts. We needed. We. But that's not what it was. It was about, why do we want the government involved in every decisions of our life? You know, people sit here at home and make decisions if they're going to go to the hospital or not because they don't have insurance. And yet we're giving immigrants all the way until January 1st, 2026. See, and people look, oh, you're racist. No, I'm not. I believe, in my eyes, with as much money has been allocated, we should see change. We shouldn't, when I go to Rochester, I shouldn't see homeless communities. I shouldn't go downtown by 4th Street and see people hanging up clothes on a wire, or hanging up clothes on the banners. When are we going to do better? We have all, that's the one crazy thing, is because they'll come out and say, well, we need more money. For what? Does that new Mercedes need gas? Do you need a new convertible? Do you need a new house? Because you bought all that in 2023 and 2024. 2022, like, come on. But still, the community is the way that it is. Why? Why does the community look the way that it looks? I will never understand that. Never. I will never understand that. I don't get it sometimes. I wanted to show you this one. Let's see. But I want to get to the comments. Like, I already know who that is. Fucker, so that's what I'm looking for. Because there's comments, supposedly. Most relevant. I didn't hide no comments, but I'll show y'all I ain't hidden that. So here's some of the comments. Trinity says she always carries. Timothy had a very good conversation with Timothy Stevens. Each other. How about from the top, from Norton RPD? There are no issues in Rochester. Ignorance. While we can raise concerns, city officials need to lead. Hired as leaders, but puppets to the, I told him I definitely agree. And it showed with the charges that 4S got, because how don't you charge for underage drinking? Oh, wait, because police officers were there. Police officers were there. And that is thing, they know that's the one crazy part that officers did see. Somebody said Malcolm X was a racist. Yeah, these comments been funny, but it's crazy to me how none of the real ones, this the one crazy thing of it is, right? Besides a couple of niggas out here saying bullshit on these comments, you haven't seen anybody respond to it. Because to be honest, I'll shut them the fuck up. You know, and I remember sitting in their court hearing one time, and this is when I believe it was like 10 people got arrested in Rochester for drugs. And I remember being in her court hearing one day, I think I had court, and we ain't never changed. We ain't never changed. Because here's Christy Wilkins, whatever her name is, says everyone has something negative to say about CERT. But tell me, what have y'all done? See, you can't say that to me, Christy. Even the same thing with Laura Lee Harvey. Y'all don't even know what I do. Just because I don't do shit around cameras and photo ops. I've done a lot of fucking shit. I have seven food pantries in Rochester, or not Rochester, Red Wing area. I have, I ain't even, forget it. This ain't a pissing contest. I just want people to stand up for what they say they believe in and don't bow down. See, this the one crazy thing. Scripty and T. Barker. Now that's the crazy thing, because so I'm going to show his mama. Right there. Shekinah Henry. This the one crazy thing. I don't care about none of this shit. Why can't people do the right thing? That's the one crazy thing of it is because I shouldn't have to go to higher authorities to get a weapon of mass destruction off my area, out of my community. Why is that so hard? Why? And we sit here and allow it daily. We look at the niggas in our community and allow it. They're either raping our fucking children, or they're out here raping, and we ain't doing shit. We sit here and have galas and celebrations. For what? There's nothing to celebrate, nigga. And I will tell you like this. There is nothing to celebrate because there is nothing but pain and trauma happening in our communities, and niggas don't stand up for that. What they stand up for is the wrong being done in our communities and looking the other way so they can profit. That's fucking crazy. But Rochester will never change, because I would tell you like this, nonprofits and 501(c)(3)s is the way now if you want to get your little reparations, because it's more for selfish people than people trying to do the right thing. They're there for if you want to lie to the community, not make change, because nobody really make changes. I'm gonna be straight up honest about that. We have all these nonprofits in Minnesota, but the same shit keeps happening over and over and over and over and over and over, and I sound like a broken record, but it happens over and over and over again, over and over and over again. We don't do shit. We don't do shit. That's what I don't get. Why? Why don't we do anything? Why do we allow people to traumatize our communities, and instead of standing up for the right thing, we join the bandwagon? We don't do the right thing, we join the bandwagon. That's what's crazy to me. That's one thing that our Black community is scared of, is accountability. self-responsibility that they really scared of. And I don't understand it. Why can't people come out here and just do the right thing? Why does it always have to be some kind of shady assness shit, or it's always something. But it ain't never the truth. You get called every name in the book, but the fact that it's the truth. They don't never say that. They'll call you a name, they'll call you this, they'll call you that, but they won't ever sit there and say, oh, that's the truth though. Because they would rather join a bandwagon instead of changing their communities. And that's where we came at to a place in America, is that we care more about names and titles than we care about change. And that's sad, because we have gotten no better in society. I will be honest. We haven't gotten no better. Kids still dying, people ODing every day, and still nothing. So I'm going to get up out of here. I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Same time, same place. And I got Louis Blaze with his new Mash Shop Mondays, and this is our body.
Hey, come on. Yeah. She got a heart full of love and brain full of pride. Being paid ain't enough to make her wanna ride. Gotta show you the one who can open up her mind. Hoping you don't mind now. See, we met at the club, so you know what's on my mind. Girl, I'm trying to have fun, not the one for the ties. Like it when you play tough, but can read it in your eyes. Tell me, do you wanna slide out? Have your body on my body. Want your body on my body, yeah. Need your body on my body. It's our body. It's our body. Look, I don't clock in, I walk in on boss shit. Caught a shot quick, check on my watch, check on my wrist. This the plot twist, I'm top pick, she topless. Got her locked in, we lock lips.